So today's question that I've been asked is, can you write too much? And the answer is yes and no. So let me explain. So let's say we're writing a book and there's a lot of personal stuff that needs to come out. My suggestion is that you write it all out, get everything out of your system. Now, you may find yourself writing and writing and writing way more than you would actually want to put in your book and to publish. But that's good because you're going to get that right out of your system. So in those kind of circumstances, the answer is definitely no, you can't write too much because you need to get that out. And then you need a period of reflection. And then you come back and you need to brutally edit it so that the story speaks to the emotions and the heart of the reader. So what about if you're a little bit like me? So when I write a book, I plan it all out. And each of my chapters is planned out. So I know what questions I'm answering. I know what the gist of it's going to be. And then what I tend to do is I write too much. And what I do as well is I go off on tangents. So the answer to that one is yes, you can write too much of the wrong thing. Is it the wrong thing really? So let me explain. So if you're right, this is for writing books. So if you're writing a book and you've got your framework all planned out and you know what you're going to write, and then you go off on a tangent and you end up, like me, writing like way too much of all kinds of stuff. What I suggest you do is when you realize what you've done is to come back to that framework and say, have I answered the questions that I set out to answer? If the answer is yes, then that's great. You can leave what you've done, reflect, and then come back and do that real brutal editing. If what you've done is gone off on some weird tangent, the question is the weird tangent more relevant to the chapter than the questions you originally thought? And if that's the case, you can review it. Now, when I said yes and no, what I mean is no, you need to get it out. And what I also mean is yes, because if the reader has to read this much stuff that is completely irrelevant, they're going to get bored and they're going to switch off. So I think what my advice would be is write it, get it out, and then leave, reflect, and then refine. Now, the great thing is now that you've written lots, so I have mountains and mountains and mountains of content. And what that means to me is I have content for blogs, content for other books, and sometimes the content will never see the light of day, but that doesn't matter. I think ultimately what matters is what your reader ultimately reads is good quality writing that's been well edited, and you've thought about the reader and you've thought about how you can connect to their heart. All of the stuff that you've written over here has great value. It helped you get clarity. It's very cathartic, and you've now got it all out of your system. So I hope that gives you a sense of that question, the answer to that question. Can I write too much? Yes and no. So do it, reflect, and edit. And I'm Dale, and I'll be back with some more tips later.